Today, we're going to talk about globalization, taking your business overseas, opening a business overseas. What does globalization mean? A lot of you go overseas to work. You're going abroad. You're traveling to another part of the globe to work. Globalization, so far as business and industry, is also about exploring another country, another market, or another opportunity. Let's talk about globalization. Okay, here we go. Let me share my screen and let's go through today's lesson. One moment, please. One moment, please. Okay, all right. So today we're talking about the impact of globalization on small businesses around the world. The impact of globalization. So when we talk about globalization, it's about a business putting its footprint in another country. And you should all be aware that the most successful companies in the world have a footprint in other countries. Whether we look at McDonald's, whether we look at Coca-Cola, whether we look at PepsiCo, they all have made a footprint in other markets. And that's why they have become so powerful and so profitable. So globalization, guys, is the increasing integration and interdependence of countries and economies and cultures and societies around the world. And this is the same that it comes for companies. It's when that company takes its products or services into another part of the world, and that product becomes part of another country's daily need, daily want, daily consumption, or it's something that other parts of the world use as a service because that service has been taken abroad. So spreading a footprint internationally is known as globalization. Globalization. So globalization has certain benefits. Globalization will mean increased international trade. That means that by stepping overseas, your company can actually attract more customers, do more business, provide more goods and services to a greater number of customers. It allows for a global supply chain. So what that means, look at online ordering companies. Look at companies that deliver goods all over the world, whether you take Amazon or whether you take Shopee or any of the online e-commerce platforms, they are a global supply chain because suppliers from all over the world, sellers, put their product in this e-commerce market and they distribute it through a supply chain around the world to their consumers. It's a global supply chain. Foreign investment. Globalization means people investing their money overseas in poorer countries or in growing economies. And by foreigners investing money in smaller countries, it allows that country to improve its economic conditions and improve its economic stance. Migration and mobility. Globalization leads to increased migration, more people traveling for work to relocate to work in another country. Globalization for any industry or any company means crossing borders to work, crossing borders so your children can learn in the market where you're working, and for other purposes. But globalization definitely means putting a footprint in another country. Cultural exchange is also part of the globalization process. Cultural exchange. Globalization has facilitated cultural exchange, enabling people from different nationalities to experience and learn about different cultures and traditions and different ways of life. One of the primary advantages of being a company who sets its footprint internationally is market expansion. When your company is in different countries, your company is able to tap more customers in more locations, and in return, by entering this new market, they're able to increase their sales, increase profit, and by all means, increase revenue growth for the company as a whole. Can anybody give me an example of a company in their country who is now global? Can anybody give me an example, please? Who can give me an example? A company in your country that now has branches overseas. Can anybody give me an example? Come on, guys, put your hand up. Don't be quiet, please. I hate it when you're quiet. Maria, Cecilia. Hello, Maria. What have you got to say, Maria, Cecilia?
I'm from the Philippines.
Okay,
In
give
our
me a
country,
company that's gone
Jollibee.
overseas.
Jollibee,
yeah.
the food
Yeah,
chain.
very good. Jollibee is a fast food chain. Jollibee started by one man who used to sell ice cream out of 2 ice cream stores. But that man wanted to become a McDonald's restaurant owner and a KFC restaurant owner. They told him he didn't have enough experience in the food industry. Please mute your microphone when I'm talking. Do not talk while I'm talking. Otherwise, I'll remove you from the lesson. Okay, so the guy that started Jollibee wanted to become a McDonald's franchisee. They said, no, you have no experience. He wanted to open Kentucky Fried Chicken. They said, no, you don't have experience. He went back. His father was a chef, a Chinese chef. He went back to his father, who had migrated to the Philippines and worked in a restaurant, and said, Dad, I want to open a food business, but they say I don't have experience. His father told him to go and think of a concept on his own. He started by importing ice cream and having 2 ice cream shops. Eventually, he worked out that he wants to open a fast food chain that sells American fast food, fried chicken, hot dogs, hamburgers, and French fries. But he wanted to make sure that his chicken was better than KFC, bigger and juicier, that his hot dogs were as good as American hot dogs. And Tony Kankatong, the guy who founded Jollibee, actually worked with a team of people and brought together the unique Filipino taste of Jollibee, which has now made an international footprint. Katong, the guy who owns Jollibee, was never a food industry expert. He wanted to go into the food industry because he saw how much money McDonald's and KFC were making. And now Jollibee actually outleads McDonald's, KFC, and Red Rooster in the Philippines, China, and other countries. Jollibee is more powerful in fast food, especially in fried chicken, than McDonald's fried chicken in China, than KFC and Red Rooster in the Philippines, China, and other parts of Southeast Asia. Why? Because this man was so adamant to go into the food business, he had to learn all about the food business. All right? So this man on his own learned and opened his first store in Manila. Now he has some 57 stores around the globe. He's made a global footprint. His product outside the Philippines has long queues of people waiting for it. Every day, you go to Jollibee in Indonesia, there's long queues. You go to Jollibee in Vietnam, there's long queues. You go to Jollibee in Manila, it's worse because of the reputation of the product that that company sells. Does everybody understand that? Can you wave your hands, please? Very good. Who can give me an example of another company that's globalized? Put your hands up, please. Can anybody give me another example, please? Hurry up. One more hand. Put your hand up. Okay, here we go. Elmon, what's your example, Elmon? Go ahead, Elmon.
Hello, sir. Good evening.
Yeah,
Yeah,
hi.
good evening from my side. What I remember currently was Lazada, one of the another company that's actually from Philippines that actually went global at the moment from Southeast Asia.
Does anybody know the story of Lazada? Okay. Sorry.
It's okay.
Okay, I have to take medicine. Lazada is an e-commerce platform. Lazada, as Elmon explained, started in the Philippines by an entrepreneur. But he realized that for any e-commerce platform to grow, he had to globalize. He had to make his platform local in other countries. Lazada has offices in Singapore. It has offices in Japan. It has offices in China. It has offices all over the world. Because wherever he sets up office, he enters that market. Why does he enter that market? So that his office can bring new suppliers to the Lazada platform from different countries around the world. What does that do for Lazada? By globalizing the brand, he can attract more suppliers to sell their products via Lazada, and by selling more products and being in more global footprints, he can recruit more customers to buy from Lazada. Would you agree with that, Elmon? Thank you. Would anybody else like to give me an example of a company that's globalized? Put your hand up, please. Anybody else? Anybody want to give me an example? Okay, go ahead, Michelle. Yes, Michelle?
Yes. Yes, sir. It's the bench, the clothing line.
Like
It's
which
owned by
clothing line?
the
Give me one.
bench company, owned
Yeah,
by
okay.
Ben Chan.
Right, okay. And why do you think he globalized?
Because the product has good quality. At the same time, the advertisement of that product, they made it internationally. They recruit a lot of artists to wear their clothing line. So many followers are buying their clothing line also. And now they are also international.
That's right. So by globalizing the brand, they get more recognition and they sell more clothing. Very good. Thank you so much. Lacey Morales, go ahead. Are you there, Lacey Morales? Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Hello. Good evening. I think one of the also the only company in the Philippines globally is San Miguel Corporation, where they sell the liquors, beverage liquors.
Yeah, and they have to globalize because they have to open the doors to more markets and have higher sales. Very good example. Very good. Okay, who else here can give me an example? One more and then we'll go on. Okay, I've got another hand here. Aisha, go ahead, Aisha. What have you got to tell me, Aisha?
Pepsi and Coca-Cola.
Tell me why Pepsi and why Coca-Cola? Why do you think they globalized?
Pepsi and Coca-Cola, they are also globalized because you can find them international.
Right. And Pepsi and Coca-Cola make syrup. And they sell their syrup to Pepsi bottlers and Coca-Cola bottlers all over the world. So how does Pepsi and Coca-Cola make money? They make money by actually having factories or businesses licensed companies who become a Pepsi bottler in every part of the world. So they go to the Philippines, they find an investor, he builds a bottling plant, he buys all the Pepsi syrup from PepsiCo in America, he buys the cans and the bottles from the factories in China, he bottles the product and he distributes it in the Philippines or in the country he's based in. How does Pepsi get money? They get money because the more Pepsi syrup he buys, the more drinks he makes. So the more drinks he sells, he has to buy more syrup from Pepsi or from Coca-Cola. And they also charge him a certain amount of money for every can or bottle that he sells. That is another reason why PepsiCo, Coca-Cola had to globalize. So they could get more companies to bottle their drinks in different countries. Very good. Let me go back to my PowerPoint, please. Here we go. Okay, so as I said, one moment, please. As I said, companies can reach customers beyond their domestic borders, tapping into new markets with diverse consumer bases. Globalization means expansion, which leads to increased sales, more opportunities, and higher revenue. What does higher revenue mean? More sales, more profit. That means Lassie will come richer a lot sooner. Instead of working for 50 years to save 100,000, she could only have to work for 2 or 3 or 5 or 6 years to become profitable and rich enough to retire. By globalizing her market and taking her business overseas will potentially bring her a larger customer base and people with more money to spend on her products or services. A global business strategy can lead to increased revenue and profitability. By expanding into new markets, companies can access a larger customer base and generate more sales. Because the more countries you go into, the more potential customers you have, and therefore when you start promoting your product and they understand it, you will get a return of more revenue from more sales. Okay, so globalization can also help countries' economies of scale, which can lower costs and increase profitability. The more income a country generates from other companies coming to their land means that the economy will grow, scale up, because more people are opening businesses in that country, which will in turn lower costs for consumers and increase profitability for the company itself. So let's look at companies who have been very successful with this principle of globalization. Does everybody know Walmart? Put your hand up if you know Walmart. Walmart is an American department store that sells groceries and general merchandise. Walmart expanded into international markets, sourcing products from around the world. So Walmart doesn't only buy products in the US, it buys products from all over the world. It has buyers working all over the world to buy the right product to put into Walmart stores. Coca-Cola operates in over 200 countries with a diverse product portfolio. That means Coca-Cola have a bottling plant in over 200 countries. Microsoft sells software products globally with a significant presence in emerging markets. Microsoft sell their software all over the world, but now more than ever, they're going into the very poor countries, emerging markets, to help them and make software products and hardware products more affordable for them. McDonald's operates restaurants in over 100 countries, adapting menus to local tastes. In Malaysia, McDonald's has chicken rice, where they serve their fried chicken with rice. In Singapore, they only serve chicken pieces, fried chicken in a box, no rice. If you go to McDonald's in China, they serve you chicken with rice. In Singapore, they serve you only the chicken. So McDonald's operates restaurants in over 100 countries, and they adapt to the local food taste when they go into each and every country. So the whole aim of globalization is to maximize your sales and your profitability, which is the bullseye on the dartboard, right? Because if you don't make profit and you're on the outer circle, you're losing money. If you're making a little bit of profit, you're breaking even, you have no money to spend, but you can still run the business, you can earn enough to pay the rent. And then finally, the outer circle, which means that you have the spending power, but you also might be interested in what happens next month. What happens next month? I need more customers, so I globalize to another part of the world. Do you understand that, everyone? Yes or no? Do you understand that, Lassie? Okay, thank you. All right, let's go on. Let's look at some of the companies who have failed internationally. Blockbuster failed to adapt online streaming, losing market share to global companies like Netflix. Blockbuster used to be an online broadcaster like Netflix, but unfortunately, their service was very slow. They didn't have the right technology, and eventually Netflix won and they were closed. Kodak failed to make a transition from digital photos, digital cameras, back to paper cameras. Kodak failed. So instead of being able to take digital photographs and use them in their market, Kodak ignored that. They closed a blind eye to digital photography. Therefore, what happened is they lost market. And that market that they used to control, or the number of people they used to sell to, now became customers of the American brand. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Okay. Lehman Brothers, they failed to manage global financial risks, leading to bankruptcy in 2008. Lehman Brothers was one of the largest investment houses in America, but in 2008, they had to fold because they lost money and they had no choice. All right, Toshiba, same. Toshiba is a laptop and computer maker. They had challenges changing to a global market, leading to significant financial losses. So what happened for Toshiba? They realized that they have to have offices in different parts of the world. They did that, but the consumer was already buying Toshiba product much cheaper in town than going all the way to the shopping center 3 kilometers from where he or she lives. So that's why Toshiba failed when it came to consumer electronics and people shopping online. All right. So what we've done now is we've looked at the companies who have been successful with this, and they are Walmart, Coca-Cola, Microsoft, McDonald's, are 3 of the most powerful companies in using this formula. Let's go to the ones that are not so successful. Blockbuster, Kodak, Lehman Brothers, and Toshiba. Everybody knows who Lehman Brothers are, right? Yes or no? Good. Okay, let me go on. Okay, so we talked about Kodak, Lehman Brothers. Toshiba faced challenges in adapting to changing global market, leading to significant financial losses. And the challenges that Toshiba faced were minor challenges, but unfortunately, they wanted to fix them. They didn't want help, and they had to fix it themselves. All right. Toshiba is another company you should add to your list. Now, remember, when you go into a new market or you basically want to set up in a new market, one of the first core criteria is to make sure that you understand that market and you've studied it before entering into it. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Okay, let me go on. So, as well as having positive impact, there is also negative impacts. Let's go through those negative impacts now briefly. Okay. Intense competition. When you're at home and your front door's closed and the fridge is closed, there's no competition. Okay? But by creating a globalized market, what you're doing is you're making it more intense and more competitive for people to buy anything, because they'll now, by habit, check other sites. They probably go and check, you know, any site in their country, Amazon. Okay, they could go and check Amazon. They could check Shopee. They could check Google, whatever online store they can find, they can go ahead and order from that and simply have it delivered to them. Because if you're competing with a big company in a new country, the only way you're going to get in is by trying to share a similar idea with the public. Now, you say, well, how do I do that? That is part of going into a new country where you have a partnership with someone, like the examples I showed you earlier, but that person is not available for you. So you've got nothing official to say you're there. And that's why if you're doing business in Vietnam, you need to have an English-speaking partner to help you with that. So delivering a message verbally or in writing is really important, because at the end of the day, it can affect the overall package that you're trying to introduce for globalization. Cultural and language barriers. Must navigate different cultural and language environments. You can't say all the girls are Christian, all the guys are Muslims, you leave the room while they work, vice versa. That doesn't work. Regulatory challenges. Businesses must comply with different laws and regulations in various countries, from not only the health department, immigration department, all of these countries are subject to approval to enter unless they have a Siemens book. What do you mean by a Siemens book? Say, if you're a Filipino working on a ship that goes to China, this seaman would usually have a seaman book which allow him entry to China working on the ship. So this is only one industry for people who work on cargo ships, etc. But there is more challenges in business than this, and there's a lot more examples out there. All right, let's go back to the beginning, and I want each one of you to give me at least one example in one category. Let's start with Aisha. Can you give me an example? Microsoft. Go ahead, Aisha. Okay. What about you, Lassie? Can you give me an example? Microsoft. Are you there? Microsoft. Can you give me an example, please? Yes or no? All right. Well, Lassie, you need to try. If you don't try, you will never learn. It's okay if you're wrong, but you need to talk to me. Can you give me an example, please? Why? You need to try. You need to learn. You don't learn if you don't try, young lady. I'll come back to you.
Sorry,
right.
about Microsoft. Sorry. What is the question again?
All right, so you weren't listening. So what I said to you, Microsoft sells software products globally with a significant presence in emerging markets. So what I was asking you, why do you think Microsoft goes into poor markets, emerging markets? Why?
In my opinion, because I go, sorry. I know
Go ahead.
Microsoft nowadays is very widely known, but actually I'm not more in technology, so I don't
That's okay.
really like.
No, that's okay. I just want to know that you understand. Let me explain. The reason that Microsoft has to globalize and sell its products globally in emerging markets is because emerging markets are third world countries that are now slowly getting money to buy computer technology and software. So Microsoft has to be there. Otherwise, they'll buy everything and Microsoft will lose market. So by going into emerging markets, Microsoft is able to promote a product, bring the ideas to that country, and people can learn how to use it. Do you understand what I mean by that, Lassie? Okay. McDonald's operates over 100 restaurants in countries adapting menus to local tastes. All of these examples, ladies and gentlemen, all of these examples about positive implications in global markets. But I think the biggest one here that I want to talk about is McDonald's operating over 100 countries in the world. McDonald's today has 14,000 restaurants in operation. Probably 10,000 of them are in the US. And the reason they're so powerful is because they're able to operate and adapt to whatever country they go to. If they sell fried chicken in China, it's based on a Chinese recipe. If they sell fried chicken in Japan, it's based on a Japanese recipe. So McDonald's are very good at adapting recipe to the country they operate in. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Yeah? Do you understand, Abdul Akkad? Abdul Akkad, do you understand? All right. So let me get out of here. And, okay. Do you understand what I just explained, Abdul Akkad? Yes or no? Did everybody see my screen and what I was sharing? Yes? Fantastic. All right. So when we talk about globalization, it's really important we understand about the significance of the act of globalization. Because once a company commits to going overseas, that means they have to commit money to going into that country. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Very good. All right. Okay, can everybody see my slide again now? Thank you. All right, so let me go on. So what we've shown today is regardless whether it's Blockbuster or whether it's McDonald's, if they fail in that market to become a global entity or fail globalization, that means that they're doing something wrong. For example, Blockbuster, who used to rent videos, they failed to change from the traditional video cassette to online streaming of movies which people could borrow. Eventually, they could not keep up with Netflix and the other companies, and Blockbuster went out of business. Kodak failed the transition to digital photography, losing market share to global competitors like Canon and Sony, because for many years, Kodak wanted to remain an analog camera where you put your film in, you take the film, you take it out, they process it, you put another one in. Kodak was not prepared to adapt to digital production or digital photography until after other means came out, okay? And the guys at Kodak were very adamant of this. Lehman Brothers failed to manage global financial risks, leading to bankruptcy. Lehman Brothers is one of the richest banks, British banks, and Lehman Brothers failed because it was unable to manage the portfolio of money they had invested with it. And people started looking for their money and their interests. Lehman Brothers was driven out of business. All right, but you have to be careful because in the finance business, you cannot always do it through the same model as globalization, where you globalize and people come to you. Because when you talk about money, banking, or anything to do with finance, you need not only to be able to enter the country, but you need the monetary authority in that country to give you permission to run financial services. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Very good. Toshiba faced challenges in adapting to changing global market trends, leading to significant financial losses. Well, put it this way, Toshiba used to make laptops. 10 years ago, they stopped. Toshiba makes fridges. They still make them now. But Toshiba has gone from making all electronics, selling phones and everything else, to now only selling proper Toshiba product, which has won or known to the Singapore market. What does it mean by that? Or known to the local market they're going to. What do I mean by that? So if Toshiba wants to build a laptop and sell it in China, it will most likely have a Chinese keyboard. If Toshiba build a laptop and sell it to the King of Saudi Arabia, it will most likely have an Arabic keyboard. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Do you understand what I'm saying, Aisha? Aisha, can you understand? Can you wave your hand, Aisha, so I can know that you're here? Thank you. All right. So take Toshiba, for example. Toshiba used to make one of the best laptops for businessmen in Singapore. Approximately 10 years ago, they stopped production and they said, we'll be able to sell our old machines until we're sold out, because Toshiba was then back more focused on people than the technology. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Okay, so let's look at the negative impacts. By actually globalizing, you're going to have more competition, because if you take your small business to Vietnam, there may already be 50 restaurants in Vietnam selling the same type of food. So this is what we call, do you understand what we mean by that? So this is why I mean intense competition, because if you have 3 countries represented by the same company, all trying to help their people get a job, then it's like a grave, because there's so many people that want it and it's not possible. It's a dead end, right? So intense competition is very important, because the more competition from the other people selling your goods and services, the better for you. You can adjust your prices and attract the customers back. It's better for you. Intense competition to a certain degree, maybe 5% of it is okay. The rest is not. The rest, if you can't overcome the first 50 or 60%, the balance will be not within the range or the level of the competition that you're already resolving. So if you have intense competition and you ask yourself, how many companies do I deal with? And 25, and then you look at their grading, 1 to 23 is graded, 24 and 25 have been left blank for the officer or the boss to finish that grading or give them feedback. Do you all understand what I mean by that? Yes or no? Do you understand that, Lassie? Thank you. Regulatory challenges. What do I mean by regulatory challenges? Government regulation. So in different global economies, you will have regulatory challenges which will stop you from expanding and selling your products or services there. Let's take Singapore and the Philippines. In the Philippines, I can buy an electronic cigarette and tobacco. In Singapore, those devices are illegal. So therefore, is there an opportunity for Singapore and the Philippines to do business when it comes to electronic inhalers or cigarettes? No, because Singapore considers those a non-allowable item into Singapore. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Does everybody understand what I just explained about? Okay, good, excellent. So regulatory challenges are very, very, very succinct. And usually, for every regulatory challenge, there's a reason which is well known. If you remember many years ago, governments all over the world decided that sugar was not healthy. So up to about 8 to 10 years ago, governments in different parts of the world told Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola, and soft drink manufacturers, unless you introduce less sugar, no sugar, and Diet Coke, we will put 40% tax on all your drinks. And that's why Coca-Cola, PepsiCo, 7-Up, F&N now have less sugar in all their drinks, because it was cheaper for them to reduce the sugar than to have their product banned and them to have to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars of fines to get their product licensed or given entry in their international market. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Okay, risk of global economic downturn in business. There's always a risk of economic downturn. There's always a risk. But the question is, how much of a risk is there? Let's talk about it. If you're measuring the risk of opening a business in India for a product like a Rolex watch that sells for $100,000, and you look at the Indian community in the area where you're going to set up, you might find that they're too poor to buy your product. So you may decide not to use those watches at that particular exhibition, save you losing money on them. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Very good. All right, so what are the benefits or the pros, and what are the negatives, the cons of globalization? The pros are that you and your business will get access to new markets. For example, Lacey wants to open a fashion dress shop, and her dresses are very popular for young girls of her age in her country. But she knows that if young girls working overseas saw her dress, they'd also like that. So by coming up with that new design, or that skill of design, knowing what girls who have lived or will live in Singapore or girls at that age want, she is able to come up with a blueprint or a design or a drawing, which can then be shared with the people in your production area or manufacturing area for you to have a product which is going to sell. Knowledge and technology is spread through globalization. Business economic growth is encouraged by globalization. Okay, now what are the cons? What are the no-nos of globalization? If you're going into a country where you're bringing a new idea or service, then there will be no increased competition. So remember, there is always pros and cons to everything, whether it's a seat, whether it's a menu, whether it's a product, a price, or a service. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Very good. All right, so what I'd like to do now, I'd like to go back to the beginning, and I'd like each of you to give me an example of, I want each of you to give me an example of globalization in your market. Now that you've heard about globalization, I want you to give me an example of a company in your market that is not globalized and tell me why you think they should globalize and what advantage would that bring to the company? Who can tell me? Let's start with who wants to go first? Elmon? Go ahead, Elmon.
Uh,
Give me an example of a company in your country that is not globalized and why you think it should become globalized.
mm, at the moment, I'm not quite sure. Specific country, specific brand, correct, sir? You're asking about the specific brand.
Any brand or any company.
Well, there may be some sort, but I'm not quite sure which one of them, sir. Because
No
at the
problem.
moment,
That's okay.
there are more local. There are other brands that currently being globalized. Which one of them is Chowking?
Right. Chowking
Unfortunately,
has been globalized for a while, but he
yeah,
hasn't
for
been
a while, right?
successful.
So,
Yeah.
unfortunately,
But
there are some that at first I thought it was actually owned by Chinese person, but it's not because it sounds Chinese, but it's not. CK.
Chowking went to Australia many years ago and failed, and
Yeah,
now he's decided to globalize again. Have you ever
yeah.
tried Chowking?
Yes, unfortunately, ours closed down because a fire broke out.
Yeah, fire broke out. Did you like the food?
Yes, I really loved it. It tastes similar to of Filipino cuisine, but it sounded Chinese. It
Well,
really sounded Chinese.
The Filipino who created it wanted it to adapt to Filipino taste buds. But in
Mm.
every country he went to, he did the same. But unfortunately, when he got to Australia, it didn't work for him. He was there for quite a few years. And I believe in Europe, he also failed. But I think he's now focused on more of the Asian countries. But he hasn't come back to Singapore yet. But I do know the brand and I've eaten his brand before. That's a very good example. So
Thank you.
Chowking is one of the companies who failed. Why did they fail? It could be because they weren't ready for that market. They had the wrong taste. It could have been because of local culture. It could have been because of local legislation and not them not meeting local health standards. But Chowking definitely failed. Okay. All right. Can anybody give me another one? Who else can give me another example? Put your hand up. Come on. Come on. Somebody else put their hand up for me. Okay, here we've got one. Okay, Emily, can you give me an example, Emily? Go ahead. Emily?
For my own opinion, sir, I would
Yeah.
say that Goldilocks, the one that was selling in Philippines, cake.
Yeah, okay, what else? Give me one more.
What else, and red ribbon, sir. Also same with they selling also cake, but only in the Philippines.
Very good. And both of those had a problem. They actually tried to be successful, but they failed. And one of the reasons they failed, excuse me, I've been suffering from a sore throat for 3 or 4 days. Just bear with me, please. Just one moment. Pardon me, excuse me for that. I'm sorry. So the reason for both of them failing was one of the 4 reasons why most companies who want to globalize fail. Either they're not ready for the market, they don't understand what that market needs, or they don't meet the cultural requirements in that market, or there is too much competition and they can't match their competition. Do you understand what I mean by that? Do you understand what I'm saying? Yes or no? Good, excellent. What about you, Sherwin? Can you give me an example of a company that has been successful or has failed?
Hello, sir. Good evening. For me, in my own opinion, is a Mang Inasal, a local restaurant in the Philippines. Yeah,
What
because
happened to them?
Panginasal it has an only rice, but then not
Yeah.
globalized yet in the other countries.
Why do you think they haven't globalized? What do you think is stopping them?
Maybe still promoting their products, sir.
Maybe they have reasons that they can't afford to go into global markets, or two, they don't meet the requirements required in other countries, which is legislatory, and I think that is their problem. They're unable to put up the guarantees for other monetary authorities in other countries. But that's one of their major problems. Thank you for that. Okay, let's
Welcome,
talk
sir.
to Michelle. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Michelle. Go ahead, Michelle. Yes, Michelle.
As I heard, it was bought some of the shares from Jollibee also. Jollibee bought Mang Inasal shares. So they
Okay.
definitely, they don't need to go out internationally because Jollibee is holding their stocks because the stocks. I mean, that's the one I mean, sir. Thank
Well,
you.
let me tell you, Jollibee is growing internationally at a massive rate, Michelle. And knowing the owner, Tony Tong at Jollibee, he has plans to enter another 10 or 12 countries this year. So the reason why the Filipino stock market or the shares for Jollibee in the Philippines are going up is as a result of the company's eagerness to expand. And by them expanding, the price of their shares will go up. So that could be a result of globalization, their fierce globalization attempts. Thank you so much. All right, go on. Who else? Yes, who have I got? Janellen. Hi, Janellen. Go ahead, Janellen.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I guess Greenwich.
Yeah, why?
Because I never see Greenwich even here in Singapore also as well. So that's why.
Again, for some reason, they have decided that globalization doesn't meet their needs. It's probably because they feel that there's too much competition or that they're unable to afford opening in Singapore. Rental in Singapore and cost of labor is very expensive. So you might find that would be one of their major reasons. Yeah. Okay?
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Who else? Okay, Jennifer Lantano. Hi, Jennifer. Which company are you going to give me? Are you there, Jennifer?
Yes, sir. I would give an example. The Cherry Mobile company, they are not improving, or they are not into globalization because their brand is not good as the other phones in the Philippines.
Oh, okay. Well, it could be that their technology is not as good. Yes, that could be a reason for lack of globalization, or it could be they can't afford the license fees to enter other mobile markets because they have to pay a license fee to that country's government. So that could be the reason. But it's a very good example. Thank you, Jennifer.
But they are still ongoing right now, even though their brand is so late updated.
No, that's okay. They're still upgoing in their local market, and that would mean they limit their income, but they're still surviving, and I commend them on that. And hopefully one day they'll be powerful enough to go further. Thank you for that.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Okay, let's go to Lacey. Hi, Lacey.
Yes, sir. Hello again. Sir,
What do you want to tell me?
I'm curious why, because SM supermalls are very well known in the Philippines. Also in China, they have lots of like brand malls in China where it has 8, where in the Philippines it has 95. So I am just curious why in America or here in Korea they don't have like that. Because in Philippines the malls are like it's complete. You don't need to go to the other area because once you enter the mall, all the things that you needed is already there. So they cater all the all the needs and wants of a customer. It's all in one.
Well, there's malls everywhere in different parts of the world, but then different markets and different developers have different ideas about what people buy in a mall. But malls are all over the world, and I do agree that in the Philippines, Mall of Asia and some of the other malls are much bigger. I do agree with that. But there is a logic behind that, because in the Philippines, people will go and buy everything in one mall. But you find in Singapore and Australia and other countries, local consumerism, they like to have different areas with different things from different specialized providers. But look at Dubai. Dubai has bigger malls in the Philippines. Probably the Mall of Dubai is 10 times bigger than the Mall of Asia. It depends on the market and the population, but it's a very good idea. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, Gemma, are you there, Gemma? Yes, Gemma, what have you got to add?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon here, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, sir.
Go
I
ahead.
wonder why, sir. Why is that Mercury drugstore, maybe they can provide international, but I am wondering, because when we go to other countries, there is no Mercury drugstore. But in the Philippines, around, I think it is 1,200, something like that branches. But how and why? I don't know, sir. I don't have any idea.
Which brand is it?
Mercury drugstore, sir.
Yeah, well, it could be that they don't want to go overseas. It could be that they are facing problems going overseas. It could be anything. I don't know much about the brand, so I can't tell you. I'm sorry. Okay?
It is a
You're welcome.
drugstore, sir, about medicine. Yeah.
That's okay. Thank you. Okay, let's go on. Let's go on. Okay, Camilla, go ahead, Camilla. Which brand do you want to talk about?
Hi, I'm Carmela. So I want to talk about National Bookstore in the Philippines. So
Yeah,
National
go on.
Bookstore is a widely bookstore in the whole Philippines, but it is not globally known. Unlike Kinokuniya, Kinokuniya is a bookstore from Japan. So Kinokuniya is famous. There are a lot of bookstores in Japan, United States, Singapore, Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand.
Right. You're right.
I think the Kinokuniya bookstore from Japan, they have globalized and they have set a global market that it's catering to different countries. And unlike for National Bookstore, they only focus on the Philippines and like selling affordable school supplies or the products that they're getting is localized. But for Kinokuniya, they try to branch out to other countries. That's why they are famous. Yeah.
Well, Kinokuniya is in Singapore, and they're famous for allowing people to go and sit in the store and read the book before they buy it. Now, some people take advantage of that. They read the book, but they never buy it. But Kinokuniya has been in Singapore for about 20 years, but they only have, I think, 2 stores. But as you said, Kinokuniya is originally a Japanese concept that has been successful. But I think now they're focused on going to unexplored countries, which they've never touched before. But they certainly touched Singapore. They are certainly in other parts of the world. But I believe from what I hear now is they're looking at European and other markets. But that's a very good example. Thank you very much. And Kinokuniya actually give their competitors competition, because Kinokuniya allows the actual buyer to read the book before he or she buys it. No other bookstore does that. Kinokuniya encourage people to sit on the beanbag or sit on the couch and read the book first. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Good, excellent. Let's go to the next person. All right, Wendelin, go ahead, Wendelin. Yes,
Hi,
Wendelin.
sir.
Yeah.
I would like to say about this Del Monte. Because in Philippines, this Del Monte is renowned for an exceptional establishment to proceed the vegetables and fruits products.
Yeah. Yes.
So they are bringing high quality and healthy or nutritious food in the people, and to protect the environment's building strong. So for me, it's Del Monte is good to globalize.
Okay, good. Okay, but you know why? Why? Why?
Why? Because for me, which is the proceed the vegetables food, they are renowned exceptional accomplishment, and they are now an international.
Okay, so they're an international brand. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, all right, very good. But do you understand why they need to become international?
Because the from as I know, export other, like the multi exported like banana, they exported for other countries like Europe, Middle East, and also in Singapore. Is because I always saw in groceries in the market, I saw Del Monte, but from other countries is don't have that. They don't they don't export Del Monte. So for me is rather Del Monte is good to globalize.
Okay, good, very good explanation. Thank you, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. All right, anybody else? Other examples? Any other examples? No? Okay, all right. So does everybody understand what globalization means to any business? Does anybody understand what globalization means to business? Anybody understand what it means? Come on. We've already spoken about it. Globalization is about leaving your footprint in a foreign market. Okay? It's about creating a new thing, a new market, a new ground to generate income for your business. It's about taking a step into a country that you've never been to before. But remember, if your business has the eagerness to generate income or increase income, putting a footprint in a new country is something that will help. By putting a footprint in a new market, you will, and eventually, as a result, you will get more customers, you will improve the brand, you will generate more income. And by going to one other country, eventually you go to a second, a third, a fourth, a fifth new country. All of these things will open doors and generate more income for you. Do you all understand what I'm talking about? Yes or no? Do you all understand that? By globalizing the market and putting your international footprint in another country, one, you're increasing revenue, you're increasing the number of customers in the market that can buy your product or service. Number three, you're actually gaining more brand recognition. Okay, but on the other hand, there's also a downfall that when you go into that international market, the competition will be so tough that you will not be able to compete. So you have to make sure that before you go into that market, your product is able to meet the competition in that country. So how do we make sure that our product or service is ready to go to an international market? It's very simple, very simple. You need to make sure that you are centric and you are focused on certain products. And by being centric and focused, it means that you are able to understand the customer psychology in that part of the world. One, you have to understand what is the customer? Who is your customer? What age is your customer? What is their income? Number two, what sort of product or service does your customer want? You have to put yourself in their shoes and ask yourself this question. Number three, you have to ask yourself, how much is the customer in this part of the world prepared to pay? How much money can they afford to pay to buy your product or service? Number four, you have to understand what sort of service standard do they expect? Do they want to buy the product in stores? Do they want to buy it online? Are they customers who want high-end product or cheaper product? And last but not least, you have to understand whether the government or the market in that country will allow you to sell your product or services. So we call these the 5 C's of consumerism. One, centric about the customer, customer-centric. I'm going to write these in the chat box. Can everybody write them down, please? I'm going to put them in the chat box. Number one, you have to be customer-centric. Number two, you have to be product-centric. Number three, you have to be price-centric. Number four, you have to be service-centric. And number five, you have to be market. Okay? Customer-centric, product-centric, price-centric, service-centric, and market-centric. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? So if you're centric and you put yourself in their shoes, that means you understand the way they're thinking. And if you understand the way they're thinking, therefore, you're able to understand whether you will be successful in that market. But if you don't put yourself in that market shoe, if you don't feel the way they feel or think the way they think or understand what they can afford or what they want, then by all means, by you entering that market, you will fail. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Are you sure? Great. All right. So who can tell me now, what is the benefit of globalization? Who can answer my question? How can globalization benefit your business? Who can answer me? Okay, let's try Aisha first. Go ahead, Aisha.
Globalization is about to expand your company or your brand international.
Right, okay. All right, so it's about taking your brand internationally. Is that right? You need to talk to me, Aisha. You've blocked your microphone. Tell me again, why should you take globalization? What does globalization mean for you?
Globalization can help us to expand our business international.
Right. So by going globally, what will that do for your business? What are the benefits?
Benefits, your business will come grow.
Good. Excellent. Very good. Very good example. Thank you. Okay, let's go to the next person. Next person. let's talk to Lassie. Hi, Lassie. What do you think the benefits of globalization are for business?
Yes. I know when we put business, our target is not just to make money, to have a good revenue, but also to be a widely known internationally. Introducing your business or product international will help you to gain more customer. Aside from that, revenue as well, and you will establish your company, and aside from that you will get more investor as well. So it has many advantages if you can introduce your product globally.
Good stuff. Thank you very much. Excellent. Okay, let's talk to the next person. Yeah, who have I got here? Fu Wei. Hi, Fu Wei. What have you got to say, Fu Wei? Go ahead.
Yeah, hello, sir. I think by going globalization, I think we can promote our products and we can earn more money. And apart from that, I think we can also promote our culture and we can create like lots of job opportunities in the other markets also.
Good stuff. Thank you very much. Excellent. Okay. Anybody else? Yeah, go ahead, Francisco.
Yes, sir. Good evening po. Good evening, sir.
Yeah.
First, you want to promote your company because you want to make it famous. Famous.
Right. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So when you want to make it famous, what are you doing? You're exposing the brand. You'll make it international. Is that right?
Yes, sir. And it
All
is
right. Good.
advantage
Excellent.
for you, for the company.
Okay. Very good. Thank you very much. Okay. Who else would like to talk to me? Go ahead, Elmon.
For me, sir, it's more about providing supply and demand. It's more of something that a country that needs. It doesn't need to be a fast food. It's more about providing a products that to a needy environment or consumers that needs them in the first place to be able to
Right.
grow, expand on their own.
Very good. So what you're doing is you're going into a new market, which is going to allow you to attract more customers or touch more customers, right?
Yes,
And
sir.
in return, your brand will become more famous. You'll sell more product, and more people will get to know your brand. Would you
Yes,
agree
sir.
with me?
Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Okay, let's go to Mary Ruth. Mary Ruth, go ahead. Mary Ruth. Are you there, Mary Ruth? Yes, go ahead.
Global globalization means the speed up of movements or exchanges of human beings, goods, and services.
Okay, good. So globalization basically is going to increase your customer portfolio and add more to your brand and increase sales. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Good on you. Thank you. Okay. Anybody else, guys? Anybody else would like to add to that? Anybody else? Yes, go ahead, Jeffrey. Hi, Jeffrey.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, sir. So for me, globalization is, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you so much for the confirmation. For me, I would like to introduce the product to globalize it, to be able for you to expand the customers and to be well known in the whole world. And the reason is to have more profitability, of course.
Increased profitability. Very good. Excellent. Good on you, mate. Excellent. Where are you from, Jeffrey? Where are you based? In the Philippines?
I'm Filipino working in Malaysia.
Right. And what do you do? What's your job?
I'm a college lecturer in the Philippines, but I am an administrator here in Malaysia.
Okay. Take care. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you for your input. Thank you so much. Okay. Can I talk to Lace? Hi, Lace. Go ahead. What do you want to say? Lacey?
just like I just want to add also the advantages of globalization is you can also get new ideas from the specific countries as well. The trends, you can also develop another innovation. Aside from that, another opportunities also like brand recognition and partnership, like your company will be like explode because once they grow, many other companies as well in that area will connect to you, so they will also like going into partnership, so you will get more investment.
Okay, good on you. Very good. Very good. Excellent. Okay, let's talk to Sheila. Hi, Sheila. Go ahead, Sheila. Hi, Sheila. I can't hear you, Sheila. Are you there? I'm sorry, Sheila. I can't hear you. Go ahead. I can't hear you, ma'am. I can't hear you. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Sheila.
Yes, you can hear me now, sir.
Yes, I can. Go ahead.
The benefit of the sorry, sir.
Sorry?
The benefit of globalization is
Yeah.
increased international productivity and
Yeah.
lower prices for consumers,
Right.
and it will access also for the investments funds, especially for the developing nations and technology sharing. That's it.
Okay. Very good. Good. Excellent. Take care. Thank you. All right, let's go on. Raciel Batista. Hi, Raciel. Go ahead. Hi. Hello. Go ahead. Unmute your microphone.
Hi, sir. I'm audible
Yeah.
to sir? Is sir?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Sir, for me, globalization is not only for the positive impact, it's
Yeah.
also for a challenge. For a challenge to every entrepreneur, how their capability or the ability to grow, to show
Yeah.
the globe how much their ability and capacity to grow their own company or their product, sir.
Good.
That's it.
Excellent. Excellent. Very good. Excellent.
Thank
Okay. Who else? Let's talk to Narissa. Narissa, go ahead. Hi, Narissa. Are you there, Narissa?
Sir, good afternoon,
Yeah, go ahead.
everyone.
Yeah.
For me, sir, if your business is globalized, you can innovate your business, and then you can give to international recruitment.
Okay. Well, hold on. If you globalize your business, that means you have to open more offices in more countries. So you
Yes,
have to
sir.
recruit people in other countries. Yes, correct. But it
Yes, sir.
also means that you might not need more. You might not need all the people you have in your own country. So you may have to fire some of them to employ people overseas, because your business might be very big overseas because of the globalized market. For example, if you go to the Chinese market to manufacture, you wouldn't need a manufacturing hub in Indonesia anymore. So there is pros to both sides, but you are right. Yes, that's correct. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
Good on you, mate. Thank you. Okay, let's go to the next person. Melanie. Hi, Melanie. Hello, Melanie. What have you got to
Hi.
tell me?
Hi, I'm good. Okay. For me, globalization globalization means you have to make effort and expose your product in many ways or promoted it in social media, say for example, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, because I'm sure many people and many country will watch it. So in that
Okay,
way,
good.
you will globalize your business or product.
Excellent. Good stuff. Excellent. Okay, anybody else? Richie? Okay. All right. Okay, yeah, go ahead, Leslie. Anything else?
Oh yeah, I remember. When a company introduced to another country as well, they have their own quarters in another company as well. They put like another company, so they need people. I think the advantage is that the government or the people in that area will have their job, so the country will gain more money because the company will hire many people, so it will generate more like uh income to the people who will get hired, so it's a big help also to the economy.
Okay, very good. Excellent. Thank you. Okay. Anybody else have anything to add about globalization? I hope today, guys, you've all learned that by globalizing your business footprint, it can lead to the growth of your business and expansion. Globalization is good. So for those of you who've ever thought of growing a business will only grow as you take it to new footprints and new markets. Now, if you're just a small business in your country, okay, you cannot afford to globalize, it's very simple. What you do is you focus on putting your product into an e-commerce platform like Lazada, Amazon, Shopee, because those e-commerce platforms are globalized. So consumers from all over the world can see your product on those e-commerce platforms because your business may be too small to go into overseas markets. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? You all understand that? Yes or no? Does anybody have any questions about what we've learned today? You've all done very well today because you've all understood what globalization is about, and you're all able to actually relate to globalization. Think of international brands: Coca-Cola, PepsiCo, McDonald's, Jollibee, Toyota, Canon, Apple. All of these companies have globalized. iPhone is a brand known all over the world because iPhone is a globalized footprint. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? McDonald's are globalized in nearly every country in the world except Russia. Does everybody understand that? Yes or no? Very good. Let me remind you all that on Monday, this coming Monday, we have Monday Motivation Madness. Does everybody know about Monday Motivation Madness? Yes or no? All right. So make sure you join us on Monday, 8 p.m. for Monday Motivation Madness. And rest assured that every time you attend Motivation Madness, you'll learn something more exciting and something more interesting. And you'll learn how to be motivated. You'll learn how to develop a sense of fire or spirit so you can be successful. Does everybody understand what we mean when we say Motivation Madness? It's not a lecture. It's basically to give you the ideas on how you can become successful from people who are successful. Do you understand that, everyone? Yes or no? Okay. Does anybody have any more questions? We finished this talk today about 20 minutes early. I'm really sorry for that, but I think the topic we presented today was very exciting. Would you agree with that? Did everybody enjoy the topic? Yes or no? Very good. Excellent. Yes, I've got another question. Yeah, go ahead, Fu Wei. Hi, Fu Wei.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
I would like to hear your advice about the market expansion. Like for example, like I opened a shop in my township. Like I
Yeah.
got lots of customers, and after that, like I would like to open another shop in another market. So like for this kind of situation, should I consider like that expansion in local only, or should I go internationally
No,
before
whoa, whoa, whoa.
expanding
What
local?
what sort of shop do you have?
Sure, maybe like about the traditional food shop, Myanmar traditional
Okay.
food and
Well,
curry.
okay. You see, you have to be careful because going global will cost you a lot of money. What you need to do is maybe sell some of, is your food product cooked food or raw?
Cooked food.
Yeah. If you want to globalize, you may have to consider developing a recipe or menu or process and actually selling it to somebody overseas to open it for you. You can franchise your brand, your restaurant brand, to someone to open overseas. Franchising is something you can think of. And if you want to learn about franchising, I'll be doing this talk about what is franchising in about 2 or 3 weeks. Join my class and you'll learn about it. But for a restaurant, for you to go and open restaurants on your own will be very expensive because in other countries, the requirements to open restaurants, the health standards, etc., are very high, okay? So you might be better off setting up a perfect restaurant in your country, coming up with menus, photos, standards, and then trying to contact somebody else in another country who's prepared to buy your franchise or invest in you and actually sell your brand over there. You know, if you want to sell Myanmar food in Saudi Arabia, where there's a lot of Myanmar domestic helpers, you need to find somebody in Saudi Arabia that wants to open your brand and sell your recipe. So you get money as the franchisor, they pay you a franchise fee, but they're still using your brand. But for you to do that, your brand has to be properly set up. You have to have certain things happening. Now, I'll be doing a session about what is franchise and what are the requirements in a few weeks' time. So please join me for that. All right? Okay?
Thank you, sir.
Good on you. You're welcome. Okay, who else wants to ask Wally a question? Anybody else? Okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here today.